Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello and welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. It is our off-air podcast that we do 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We stream it live on the Miguel and Holly and the Hits 961 Facebook page. Also on the Miguel and Holly YouTube channel, which if you're ever just hanging out on YouTube, you should go look at all the videos we have there. Also, check out our other podcasts that we have, like the Miguel and Holly Full Show podcast. I was at an event I was hosting last night, and this guy who doesn't know us or whatever does the typical thing when they meet a radio person. Well, I don't listen to the radio that much, but I listen to podcasts. And I'm like, well, fuck your business too. But thank you.
Why do people
I'm
do
a doctor.
That?
Oh,
Right.
well, I'm not sick right now, so I'm not really going to go to your
I don't
fucking
actually
office.
believe in doctors.
Right. Your hospital sucks. Like, I'm just always like, thank you for saying that my life's work is stupid and
Right.
obsolete.
Right.
I just really don't know, because they always say it with disdain too.
Yes.
I haven't listened to the radio
In
in 20
forever.
years or
Right.
like some ridiculous amount of time. I'm like, oh, you don't?
Mhm.
Oh, you don't? Well, F you.
I'm like, okay, I know you're lying because I can get in your car right now. But anyway, but I do. Sorry, I'm
weird.
feeling like
It's a
I'm on one
weird
today.
No,
flag.
that
Like-
pisses me the fuck off every
Mhm.
single time, and I don't know how to respond to it without sounding like an asshole
Right.
every single
You know
time.
what I think? I think we can. I have a good response. I think you'd say, I think you can sit back for just a minute and say, I'm surprised that you said that to me. Or
Well, it's
What
just
was
the
it?
truth.
I'm like, well,
Role play with me.
I think our conversation is over here. Have a great night.
Ooh, this is okay.
I would
what's a good
never,
comeback?
by the way,
'Cause they'll be
ever
like,
in my life
"Whatever."
do that in real life. By the way, I would never.
I
But
would.
in my head,
You know
I
I
have.
will.
I've had great confrontations in my head that are epic, and they never will see
Oh,
reality.
I will. I'll do it.
Oh, you
I'm
know what?
surprised You thought you could say that to me or something.
No, here's
I
a
saw it
good
on
one.
TikTok.
To make them feel bad, to be like, okay, Holly, say it like I'm last night. And by the way, this is like in the middle of me hosting this event. And like I'm like the MC, but then there are other people like giving out the awards, and then I'm like transitioning between people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm like following along with the script to make sure I know. And then he just waddles on up next to me, and
Like
it's
you're
just
not
like
busy. You're not
Right,
working or
right.
busy
You're just
at
having
all.
fun.
right. So
Like,
I'm like,
he's a toddler coming in to ask for juice and cookies.
which by the way, I told him to listen to our podcast. So hey, mister. But this is how you made me feel in that moment. So I'm like going along with the things that she's giving out the awards, and he's like, hey, so you do radio. Da, da, da. And I'm like, da, 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 da. And then Holly, say the line.
You know, I don't really listen to the radio. I don't know that I've listened to the radio in a decade.
Well, that's surprising you would say that. This is my life's work.
You should say that.
I still feel they could be like, oh, well,
No.
maybe.
Because if you truly take in what you just said, say it again.
Huh, it's funny you should say that. This is my life's work.
Yeah, like what do you say after that?
What do you say? How
Maybe
do
you
you
should change
respond
it.
to that?
Right.
Oh, well, yeah. You know what? I bet it is a really great business. Like all they can do is try to recover.
Yes. Man, I want to like stitch that across my head
I
so I
know,
can
me
remember
too.
it the next time someone
I
says
know.
that.
And this is me, the ultimate people pleaser, honestly. And then I have thoughts on that, by the way. But like, if the last time somebody said it to me, God, I don't even know who it was, but they weren't trying to be mean. But like, seriously, they were like, "Oh man, I don't listen to the radio," and I was like, "It's okay, it's no big deal." Like, not a lot of people do. I think I don't know. It's fine.
But see, and
I hate that.
know.
right, and here, and to be fair, like the guy wasn't mean. He was just like, in his honest assessment, he was like, I listen to podcasts when I'm in my car. But I think it's also not rude of us to say, because what we do, this industry is literally what I have been doing since I was in middle school,
Mm.
elementary school. This is what I went to college for, I'm in debt for still,
Right.
from
Yeah.
student loans for. This is what I have spent hours obsessing over.
We have spent the required amount of hours to become an expert in something.
Yes, 100%.
The
100%.
10,000 hours that you have to put in, I've put it in.
Right. And so it is not a mean, false, or rude statement to say, huh, funny you should say that. It's been my life's work.
Period. Let me write that down.
Right.
know.
I'm going to write it down too. 'cause
I'm
I
gonna
remember.
forget. I already
I
forgot it
know.
actually. I was so happy you were gonna repeat it.
Right.
And you don't understand, you listening, like you might think this is not something that happens that often. it surprisingly does.
Yeah.
And so that's
Very
why
much.
in my head, I'm thinking the next time this happens, and it will be pretty soon,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yes.
next time this happens, I will feel myself on that like do or die moment.
Mm,
And it just depends, I think, on who is saying it and like the
right.
tone and the place. I'm trotting this one out.
Now, here's where I will do an asterisk that I will like give grace to if it's like someone in their 20s or a teenager, because we as an industry have done a really bad job of reaching younger people.
Yeah.
And so I will give them grace and say, well, we didn't reach out to you. And there's stuff about that as an industry we can't talk about on the air like this in any form unless we're in person. But like we have done a bad job as an industry in reaching out and making sure that out of all the things that young people that occupy their space, we have not wedged ourselves in there enough to
Right.
be able to say, hey, we are an option as well outside of YouTube and Spotify and all the other options that young people have. We've
Mhm.
not done a great job with that. So that's where I will give them grace. And I will say, okay, well, you should check out our podcast. And that's usually like my entryway in to be like, I get that.
Yes.
Because when I was at Queen's University talking to a bunch of young guys for like a men's mentorship thing, and a lot of the guys were like, I'm sorry, I've never. And I'm like, and I literally said, we've done a bad job, which is why you should consider working in this industry if it fits for you, because we have many different positions, yada, yada, yada. But then I did follow it up with like, well, we do have a podcast. We have our full show podcast where we take out the music and the commercials, and then we have an off-air podcast. And all of them were like, oh, I didn't know y'all did that.
Right. I was just thinking while you were talking, and I was listening with one ear and thinking with another ear. I think it's great that you give them grace because we should, and we should present the multiple forms in which they can find us in their language to them.
Right.
That's the solvent there.
100.
But then I was just thinking, it's still rude, not for them, but like for
Right.
the people, because even if it is true that you do not listen to radio, why would you say that?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're trying to point out that you think it's irrelevant or not as popular as it used to be, but why would you say that to the person that hosts
A radio show.
Right.
Because I would never say that to anybody about their profession at all.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm a real estate agent. I don't own a home and I'm not planning on buying one.
Right.
Right.
Or I'm thinking
Right.
like for me, like I don't eat. And I feel like I hate saying this. I feel like a little problematic now in 2023.
Say it. Cancel Miguel Fuller. Party.
Hashtag Miguel Fuller's
Miguel
over
Fuller.
party.
Sign me up.
Hashtag Miguel Fuller's canceled. I don't eat Asian food.
Yeah.
So in my life, I have never said to an Asian person, unless someone else who knows me brings it up and they're like, haha, Miguel, say your thing.
Right.
I've never been like, I don't eat Asian food. How
Because why
rude.
would you? Why
That is
would
this person's
you?
culture and what
Yeah.
they grew up loving. I would never say that.
Right.
People are a little
Asian.
too
I don't-
flippant.
I don't
with,
eat your food.
Right.
Like I would never say that.
Right.
And you wouldn't say it about like other. I almost feel like with Asian food, like it's like nobody says that about like Mexican food or Italian food.
Right.
You really don't say that. But why are you gonna say it to Asian people?
Right.
You know what? I battle with, okay, like their intention is not to be rude, but at the end of the day, it's so tone deaf. Like it
Right.
still is rude, even though maybe your
their
initial intention is not, but it
I
still
agree.
is.
But like that's home training. I feel like because
yeah, a lot of
it's-
bitches don't have a home training.
don't.
It's true.
No, it's true.
Wait, that needs to be on a t-shirt. A lot of bitches don't have home training.
I know that's right.
I want that on a t-shirt.
I also want that. I would wear it on like my little t-shirt, a tank top. I would take a tank top.
Yeah.
Because this actually came up in my house because it goes to the larger bubble of like don't yuck someone's yum. I feel like, which is kind of like having its moment. That phrase is sort of having its moment, but it's like don't shit on someone's happiness or
Right.
whatever.
right.
And also the home training comes in. Last night I was a great educational opportunity for Maya, which my intention was not to like make her feel bad because you don't really want to make your kids feel bad. But I was like, this is a corrective course that we're going to need to take. And she's going to have to sit with her uncomfortableness for just a minute because so my fiance made dinner. This is the second time he's made this meal. The first time it's called cracked chicken.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh.
Wait, is it not good?
Did he make a healthy version?
Did you all make it yet?
Yeah,
I did,
have.
Oh.
I actually got the recipe from Miguel when I had first moved into my new apartment,
Ma-
and
I
I
don't
saw
know.
he posted it, and I was like, "Oh my god, Miguel!" And that was like one of our first interactions.
Maybe it's
Mhm.
not the same thing. What is it for you?
Hold on, because I don't
Well,
remember
what is it like?
recipes.
You don't have to remember the recipe. Like what
Just
generally?
a delicious, heavy cream based, probably chicken with some
Like shredded chicken?
No.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
wait. No. I'm sorry. I think that Kelvin, you and I are thinking about the Marry Me chicken. So no,
that's
I just looked it up because is this a crock pot thing you're talking about, Holly?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's an
no.
instant pot thing.
I have not made this before. No.
Never mind.
I cannot recommend. But again, I'm not trying to yuck someone's yum. I personally it was not for us. But also the first time my fiance made it, this thing calls for like a teaspoon of different kinds of seasoning. He used tablespoons. It was a lot.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, well, it's probably better when you use the proper amount of seasonings.
Right.
And there's a bunch of 5-star things.
Mm.
And that's kind of what it should have been like, I think. But
Is-
no, see,
Is
the
that
cheese was mixed. Like the topping, it looks like there's a cheddar cheese layer on top, but it said this recipe told us to like mix it in.
Mhm.
So we did it in the Instant Pot. It's like ranch seasoning basically and some other things and like chicken breast, and you cook it in the Instant Pot. Oh, cream cheese, and then you shred the chicken, and then you throw it back in the pot, and you put a cup of shredded cheddar in it, and you top it with bacon and green onions. And it's just, my big thing with it was, what do we do with this? Like, I see somebody has it on a burger or bun, which we don't really do that much. And I'm like, this would be a good dip with chips.
Right.
It's a very okay dip with chips. I would not be like, this is the best thing I've ever put in my mouth, but it's an okay dip for chips. But we were eating it as a meal. It was just a big
Plop.
blob. And you have like
big-
veggies with it on the side.
We had green beans and like little roasted potatoes. And then
Okay.
just like a glop of this cracked chicken.
Yeah, I could see, especially for a kid, that would be weird.
Maya was
Yeah.
not into it. Like we
Was
both
this
were
last
like,
night?
okay. Yes, it was. And we were
Similar-
both like,
similar
okay, so
experience.
that's fine. And I was like, this is the second time now. He made sure to put a teaspoon of whatever spices it was. I don't know. And I'm eating it and I'm just like, it's just not my favorite thing, but I couldn't see how someone would like it. Maybe on a bun. Like I
Right.
just saw Miguel put up on the screen as a bun. Didn't
Mhm.
think of that. We did get some chips out. It was okay. It wasn't terrible. It was just okay.
Right.
Maya starts in immediately as we sit down. She's like, what is this? And I'm like,
Oh no.
it's a chicken recipe that we really wanted to try again. And she's like, I don't want it. And I'm like, well, that's what we're eating. I'm sorry. We don't. She's like, can I make ready pasta? I'm like, nope, not today. And by the way, we were in a time crunch because she got dance in like 20 minutes and she takes an hour to eat. And I'm like, sit down and just start shoveling it in. Please just sit down and eat. Sit down and eat. She sits down and she like takes a fork and she's like, this is mush. Looks like a big gloopy glob of mush. And I can see my fiance sitting at the table just side eyeing her as he has now spent an hour making this. And I'm like, at what point do I? Oh God. And so then I let her just say that. And I was like, all right, maybe that's enough of that. So I'm like, just put it with a chip. She's like, yes, chips. This is the best idea. So she puts it with a chip and she eats and she's like, it's too cheesy and there's too much cheese. Do you not think it looks like mush? And he goes, and I'm like, okay, hold on. Hold on, Maya, you cannot say
Chill.
things about the food that people make for you. I don't care if we were at our house or daddy's house or your friend's house.
Yeah.
If someone has bothered to cook you a meal and then put it in front of you, the only thing you are allowed to say is, what did I tell her? It's like the only thing you were allowed to say is that it's not my favorite, and then eat it anyway.
That part.
It's not my favorite
Right,
because
right.
that's on you. Like
Right.
it's not my favorite.
Right.
And so my fiance was like getting red about it.
He
I'm
was
like,
like,
hey,
let's go.
yes.
Let's go.
And then even I looked
Beat
at him,
your
I'm like,
ass up.
and this isn't, it's not my favorite, but we're going to enjoy this with chips. And he's like, I know this is the last time we're not putting it in the rotation. I'm like, no, we're not, and that's okay. But like that is the home training I speak of. Someone, hopefully a parent, has to, when your kids smack you down a little bit and be like, don't ever tell someone who just spent time, money, and effort cooking for you that it's awful, or call it a name or
Right.
whatever.
It's an important lesson, and she probably has never she hasn't had that many years on this planet.
She has not.
So she probably has never been in this situation. So it's a good lesson.
It is. And honestly, sometimes you have to repeat it because she probably has had that lesson, but I don't remember, and she probably doesn't remember it either.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to repeat that.
100%.
You just got to. And that's where I feel like these people that are like, radio, I don't listen to radio.
Right.
Did I ask you that question?
Right.
Well, that's
Why
sort
would
of
you provide that?
And it's and you know what? Maybe devil's advocate. They don't really interact with many radio people too. I mean, I never met a radio person before I got into radio.
Right.
So,
right. You don't know. You're sort of like shocked by it because I feel like the guy last night, he was kind of like, wow, a real life radio person. I didn't.
It's like they still pay y'all to do things like that.
I thought y'all lived in the mountains somewhere and just broadcasted down.
Like we're real,
right?
They're like, do you know Casey Kasem? Did you know when he was alive?
He was my uncle, girl. Yes, honey. What are you talking about? Scooby Doo is my uncle. No, but that's one of the conversations Abe and I had to have when we first got together because he was so bad about like if he didn't like your type of music, he'd be like, "Oh, the music is awful."
Oh, I remember,
And I like the first 2 times I like let it go by because we were still getting to know each other and I was trying to like be agreeable. And then like once we had like our first disagreement where I actually like said that I was upset, and then I was like, bitch, the floodgates are open now. I'm gonna tell you when I'm upset about anything you say. And so I remember one time we were at a bar and there had been some drinks. It was like a Saturday fun day.
That's usually when it does happen.
And then he said something, I don't remember who the artist was, but someone said they loved it. And he was like, oh God, that music's awful. And I was like, do you know how fucking rude that is when you say that? Music is like religion. You don't tell someone that their religion is shitty because that's what's personal to them. You don't know that music could have saved their lives when they were in high school and stopped them from committing suicide. And now you're calling it horrible.
Yeah. Like, who are you? Somebody made you the judge of what music is good and what music is bad. Music is subjective.
Right. Like, I shouldn't have been a little heavy. I shouldn't have been that heavy-handed. But like I said, I've been drinking. But this is where Abe is
still on his soapbox.
So always, girl. My soapbox is always tied to my hip, and I'm ready to
you're
fold it out.
Yeah, bitch never turns off the mic.
I'm always ready.
Yes.
But he's so good about like, he got quiet and he thought for a second. He was like, all right, I still think it's shitty music, but I see where you're coming from and I see why I shouldn't say that. And I was like,
You're like,
now this is one of my horrible personality traits.
That's a toxic
I
trait
get
right
really
there.
smug.
You get smug as hell.
It's the for me and the purse lips goes.
Yes, it is. It's that little like. You don't need to do that. You did not need to do that.
There is a picture. I'll have to find it on my Facebook. Years ago, Holly, remember we were in Panama City and we were doing headphone karaoke. And I found out because Tyler, he was our afternoon guy at the time.
I haven't heard the name Tyler.
Right?
I don't even know how long. And I worked with Nick Wise. Remember they were BFFs?
Right? Yes, they were friends.
Anyway.
Well, he filled in for Mandy, I think, a headphone karaoke because she was pregnant and she couldn't do the consequence or something. And we did it by texting in to vote. And then I found out that he had cheated somehow. I don't remember how it happened, but he had cheated.
Yes.
And then
it was like he was joining us for Memorial Day because we invited him in and whatever. And you knew somehow that he had rigged
the system or something. And so then I invited him in on that Monday's morning show.
Oh my God. I was so uncomfortable.
Our boss came in and I'm like, okay, I was 27, 28 at this time. The way I read this bitch for filth with the receipts, and I was like, and you did this, and you did this, and you did this. And then there is a picture of me that I made my profile picture where my lips are pursed and you can physically see me going, And everyone was like, Miguel, I was like, That's too much.
Actually, looking back, like I don't even know if it sounded good on the air because
it probably didn't, but I was like, I know I'm right. And I think probably why I do that is because I usually don't feel like I'm right about a lot of things because I'm always like, well, you're right. I'm wrong. I didn't know. But that was one or few times that I feel like I'm morally right in a situation. I'm going to let your ass know.
Mhm.
I'm going to let your ass know. That's one of my toxic traits. I'm trying to look for the picture now.
No, I get that way too, though, but it takes a lot more for me to get pushed to the brink, and I have to be absolutely rock solid on my facts because I'm a fact finder anyway. Like, just this job has really made me make sure I am so accurate. I would never knowingly give false information. Like, if I say something out of turn, it's because I genuinely didn't know, or I somehow got something wrong, or I read it. Like, it's an accident. So if I have facts and I know, I will loudly and proudly stand in a spot and put a flag there.
I found it.
I'm too emotional.
You found it?
Let me see.
With that stretched ass shirt too.
Damn,
Look
bitch.
at the little peekaboo right in the titties.
Damn.
You see my
Look at that face.
my hands are clasped. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, what now, bitch?
You're
You
like,
just need
do
a little
you
wig.
see what I did?
You just need a little bob, a little ma wig.
Yep.
And that's it.
You look like you are sitting there, judge, jury, and executioner. Like
I want him to know it was me.
That's your I want him to know it was me face. Y'all, I'm so sorry if you're just listening to the podcast. It's exactly what he said. Like, it's Miguel in a shirt that may or may not be a little snug. And his face just says,
oh my God.
Try me.
Oh God. That is all right. That is one of my favorite faces.
Goodness gracious.
What a time.
All right, we're gonna do a quick would you rather
All right.
lightning round, and then we've got to go.
Bye.
We got a lot of stuff to do.
We are so sorry, y'all, but
You know, it's the last day before you go on vacation because we are on vacation next week, so no podcasts. The last day before vacation, like you've been trying to get ahead all week, and you're like, I know there's gonna be a lot that I need to get done on the day before I go. And then we all had that. And then like other people in the company were all like, oh, hey, y'all, I have a couple of projects for you.
and like Kelvin even finished the best of show for next week, like Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm like, bitch, we're gonna be able to.
I know. I thought,
Yes.
but even early yesterday, I was like, I am gonna just be ready to step out the door. Nope.
No.
Hell no. I got like 5 more things just now. Nope. Why?
Would you rather? Would you rather? Would you rather? Would you rather eat a wet loaf of bread or drink a cup of hot dog water?
Oh.
Would you rather eat a wet loaf of bread or drink a cup of hot dog water?
I'm ready.
Kelvin?
So, if you're Hispanic and you grew up eating pan cubano, you would butter it up, toast it, and then you would dip it in your café con leche. And it was so good. I mean, that's the only way I'd probably eat a full loaf of Cuban bread that's buttered and dip it in my café con leche. That's probably the only way. But just wet bread?
Yeah.
Just wet bread. But also hot dog water.
I feel like I would I mean, both would make me puke. But I feel like I would be a little less pukey if I did the wet loaf of bread. Because the hot dog, because like, even though I love hot dogs, I know that when I eat them,
you can't eat
I
that.
don't know what the fuck I'm eating.
No.
Like, I know I'm eating hooves and fucking spleen,
eyeballs,
beaks and feet, talons.
But I know. But you know what? It's on bread. I've got some mustard.
Bitch, you put mayo. Stop acting.
Actually, the one thing I don't put mayo on is hot dogs.
I love mayo on hot dogs.
Actually,
really.
I like mayo on hot dogs too.
Yeah,
my ex-husband
really?
introduced me to it, and I'm like, no. Oh, okay.
You know what? I think for me, it probably comes from like one of those, like we grew up poor and like my mom, we couldn't get ketchup because we were out of food stamps and all we had was mayo. And I was like, oh my God, we're so poor. We don't have ketchup. My mom was like, you're going to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck you gonna do? You better eat that goddamn hot dog.
At 7 years old.
Right. Smug
Yeah.
face.
I just want ketchup.
I just want ketchup. Ooh,
I
the
think I
one
do
time
bread, yeah. Bread.
my mom spent. You said you would eat what?
I think I do the bread.
The bread. Wasn't that the name of a Limp Bizkit album?
Yes, it was it was chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
Yes.
Oh.
Why do I know that?
Why?
The rock station here has been playing a lot of Limp Bizkit lately, and I came out of the bathroom, was out in the bathroom, and it was like, I did it off on the nookie, come on! And I'm in the bathroom, and I was like,
yes!
And then I stopped, and I went to walk out the door, and Ashley from the Joe Show was coming right in. I was like, hey, girl!
Hey! You're like, I just got down to my nookie.
I just jumped on a Limp Bizkit. Let me never do that again.
There's a video I saw recently of Gen Zers listening to Limp Bizkit for the first time. It was hilarious because they were like, oh my gosh, they didn't have to go so hard.
It does go pretty hard, actually. I had that on cassette tape when I was in.
I want to hear Rolling now. Would you rather be forced to wear wet socks every day for the rest of your life or be forced to wear winter gloves over your hands for the rest of your life?
Oh, God. How could you? Your phone alone. You can't do it. No, I got to go with the wet socks. And I chose against wet socks the other week because that was a wet sock question.
Yeah.
But I'm choosing wet socks this time. You can't do anything with those gloves. You can't be on your phone.
Well, they have technology now where like you can have gloves that have texting. Do these have the texting?
I'm about to say, if I was able to but what about
I don't think sorry about
you can put a little lotion, you'll be fine.
For the rest of your life, you know how quickly that's gonna be disgusting?
Well, you know what? There are
tools
that you can use. Okay.
I know that's right.
All right, I say gloves.
Target.
Gloves.
I'm gonna do gloves too. My fingers are always cold. So
I wanna touch people's faces that I love.
Your feet gonna stink, Holly. Those
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I'd keep them covered with a shoe.
Ew, then they like turn like, well, at least for mine,
you raise it
like when they
but
like white and like scaly.
After a while, you don't notice it anymore.
It just becomes normal.
It's fine.
Imagine getting a pedicure.
You can't get a pedicure because you got the socks on.
Oh, if you can't get it, how do you cut your toenails?
How do you cut your fingernails?
Oh, true. We're gonna be like one of them world history or not world Guinness books. Yeah, so they wrapped around.
Oh, that always freaked me out.
Remember when Fox used to do those shows like that where it was like the craziest animals attack? The Guinness Book of World Records. I remember just the black lady whose eyes would like pop out of her head.
Oh my God. Oh God. And they would always show like in Africa. It's always in Africa. And they go to those indigenous tribes and the women's boobs are hanging to their knees and they got like those things in the ear and the neck stretcher outwards. And you're just like, what are people living like?
Those shows were wild.
It was wild. What the hell is wrong with us?
All right, Holly.
People, yes.
This is gonna be a hard one for me.
Oh.
Would you rather win the lottery but lose all your friends or lose all your money but find your soulmate? Would you rather win the lottery but lose all your friends or lose all your money but find your soulmate?
Can we ask questions?
Yeah.
Could you eventually make friends? Or are you so insufferable that you are unable to find?
Yeah.
I think you don't have friends.
Yeah, I think that's once you get the money, like that's your deal with the devil. Like once you sign that contract with Ursula, like you ain't got no friends.
And I'm stuck with my family?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't say family. It just says.
So just your family. Oof. You and your siblings and your parents.
Better make friends with them. Lose all your money but find your soulmate. And still have friends.
And still have friends.
I mean, listen, I've had 30 years of amazing memories.
I
don't know. That's hard. That's a hard question.
So I guess my question would be, and this is just to all of us, if I win the lottery but lose all of my friends, can I still have fun experiences or am I just stuck in the house with lots of money? Because that's the thing. Like if I can like travel, but I have to travel solo. So that's the caveat. So Ursula is like, you couldn't get all the money, but you have to lose all your friends, and you can't even meet people when you go to Bora Bora.
Just a lonely ass life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like even when you travel, like you're at fucking Atlantis, like
the adult only pleasure
Yes.
place or whatever it is.
there's like a bubble around you, and so like only like servers can talk to you, but they can't even like be friendly. They just got to be like, what would you like?
I had texted my friend side note story about how we have an old coworker who is dating a somewhat celebrity, and she has us on her close friends list, and she's constantly on a cruise or doing this and that. And then one of the captions that she wrote in her Insta story was, the benefits of being with a star. And so I texted my friend and I was like, am I a terrible person? Am I a hater for just being so annoyed that
Wait.
she's constantly on the back of her boyfriend who's a star? And
He's a
she's constantly,
star?
yeah, he's on a show. And so he's,
Okay. And so she just gets to go around as the plus one.
yes. And it just would annoy me because she was such a hard worker and so talented, but she decided that she was like, well, this is my partner, so I get to do all these lavish things. And it just annoyed me at times. And she would always post it on her story, and she still is. And so
I guess that's it. I mean, it is nice, but I do feel it's a little tone deaf posting stuff like that, because clearly you're in a very small minority of kept people.
Right.
I wouldn't be bragging about that, because that's how you lose friends. Like, people don't want to feel like you're snubbing them.
I texted my friend and I was like, am I a hater? Like, is this bad? Like, I don't want to feel this way. And she was like, there's not, she goes, that post looks so lonely. There's nothing about sitting next to that pool all by myself with nothing to do and no one to hang with drinking alone. That makes anyone jealous. It's been years of them trying to find a job. So whatever. She goes in and saying it's a lonely life.
Yeah.
So maybe that's this. Like, if you get this money, you get so out of touch that it's not like a physical bubble, but you just get so gross as a human that no one wants to be around you.
Right. Well, because look, think about billionaires and even celebrities. They are out of touch and they have no idea what it's like to live in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think I would rather lose all the money and find a soulmate, because that's what this life is for, is to
sit around and be poor together.
I mean, no.
Find happiness in things that are not materials.
Find your true, like, your soul's calling and live with authenticity and purpose. And I mean, oh well, you don't have to be poor.
Miguel, you're such a bitch. You're such a bitch, dog. You sell
You're
that
gonna make
fucking
yourself-
soul, bitch.
you're gonna
sell
make
the
yourself
fucking
so
soul.
lonely.
Just do it already. Go.
No, absolutely not. No, I joke. I kid. I mean, listen, I think that's one of my biggest fears, to be honest, is, knowing where I come from, what it's like to have to stress every time you walk into the store, every time you get gas, you are scared.
Yes.
Like, I just remember especially right out of college, when I had all these credit card bills and my student loans were due, and I was only making, $21,000, and my paychecks were $600, and my rent was $595. And you're like, how am I going to eat?
Yeah.
Like that, that's why I work so hard, because I just remember driving around and just being like, what the fuck am I going to do just to get to work? Like, I remember having to take one of the station vehicles home because I didn't have gas and we didn't get paid till the next day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to run out of the gas by the time I get to my apartment. So I stayed at work like 3 hours late until everybody left. So I could take the News Talk vehicle home. And then I got there super early so no one can see that I took the vehicle.
Yeah.
So so that's why, like, when we joke about these things, like, that's what comes back to my mind about, like, being poor and just
that trauma.
the trauma and the
Yes.
stress of it.
Yes, it is PTSD.
Right.
I think, though, having someone who, if this is right, it's like, oh, it's your soulmate. So
Right.
whoever this person is great for you. Like, it's your favorite person to spend time with for the rest of time, and that's all you really want, that person, and they really want you to do life together with. I would just probably go be homeless. Like, you go figure out, like, instead of like paying into the system and being like, how am I going to pay my taxes? I'm just, fuck it all. I'm gonna go off the grid and I'm just gonna make a life with this person, and we're gonna get through it because I have someone else to do this with.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, and that's why, so I say all that to say that, like, knowing what that's like, but then also knowing the joy and the connection of being with someone, I can imagine that would have been a little easier because I did it all alone and it was
Yes.
just me.
Yes.
But having someone that you can commiserate with and come up with resources.
And you're like, no matter what, we have each other's backs.
Right.
We're together, stronger together.
It's a real question of what do you want or what do you prefer, I guess, right? Short-term happiness or long-term happiness.
Right.
That's what I'm seeing in between both of the questions.
Right.
It's fun to do all the lavish things, but after a while, if you're alone, who are you sharing it with? Whereas
100.
the other one, you're suffering, but at least you're suffering with the person that you love the most in this world.
Right.
That.
And also because I'm the king of loopholes. This says, or lose all your money, but find your soulmate. It doesn't say lose all your money and never get it back.
True.
So
Right.
I tell Ursula, bitch, where's the fine print? You didn't say I could not get it back.
Well, it also doesn't say lose all your friends but never get them back either. So I mean, this is all negotiable, I feel like.
Then let's get the lottery.
Let's get rich,
All right,
bitch.
Holly, thanks.
No, but that
I mean,
changes your
if you're
personality.
gonna make a loophole. You're gonna make a loophole for one. You gotta make a loophole for the other.
Yeah.
You know what? I hate loopholes.
I
People
love
that
them.
use loopholes. I mean, I love them too, but there are some people who like really they use a loophole, and then as the person who gets screwed over by another person using a loophole, really grinds my gears.
No, I agree with that. That's all I'll say about that.
Mhm.
Producer Kelvin, how can people find you on social media and see all your Thanksgiving fun you're about to have next week?
You can follow me at Kelvin Live, TikTok, Twitter, X. I will be very entertaining this week and actually care about social media because I've tried to
Oh.
detach, but I'll be fun. Lots of content.
Mm.
OnlyFans, maybe? I don't know. I might show a little thing or two.
Here we are. I'm back to that.
Girl, she's just gonna show her ankles. That's about it. Holly, what's your social media? People can follow along with you.
I wish you said cankles. I would have been like,
No,
No, I'm not that
we're
mean.
too mean to each other. Listen,
No, it's
I am at Radio Holly. Nobody's being mean over on my page.
that's true.
We're just sharing
That's true.
recipes and
Mhm.
babies' faces.
Mhm. Not on mine.
No.
We gonna show dick. No I'm kidding. No. Mine is Miguel Fuller. I need to go. At Miguel Fuller.
We're not even done. We're not even close to being done.
No.
You are going to be the keys, bitch.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to Key West,
Hey!
but I'm not showing my doo 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 doo. I will see other people's doo 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 doo.
I'm good.
Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it